But now I have realized that also it has like, even though it wasn't like my first intention or the beginning of my art, it could be also a reference to some other people that, I mean, if I was my 15-year-old self, I would love to see stuff like that. And
Sure.
and artists that are just putting their work out in every level, if it's just like poetry or photography or drawing or painting, etc. I think it's interesting for some other people to see these things. So then after some time, I realized that somehow my art is also contributing to that.
How long have you been making art? What is your journey in art?
Yeah, I started consistently and I would say slowly, seriously, and 2020. I have been drawing like since I remind, but not like doing like a body of work or a consistent, how do you say, statement or meaning or something. I just like to draw.
Okay.
And I had I studied in architecture. I still work in architecture. And then at this point in 2020, just before the pandemic, I made a burnout. I was some months before that, before COVID. So I was at home. The only thing that I had was time. And that's that. I realized that that's the thing that I always was saying, like, if I have time, I will spend more time on my art or something, you know? And it's like, okay, the only thing that I have now is art and time. So I started doing a lot of stuff. I had all my time. And some months after, I actually started doing it for myself. And it was very therapeutic too. So it was very interesting to me to just getting a little bit more deep in what I was drawing, the subjects and everything. And after some months, I started showing that to some friends and stuff like that. Not like as a professional artist, just like showing what I'm doing. And those people that are a little bit related with art were like, why are you not like organizing an exhibition or something? It seems like you have lots of interesting pieces and they seem to work well together. It's not like isolated stuff here and there. So it took me something like a year or something, and I decided to make an exhibition by myself. Like, actually, it was 3 days. I rented a gallery. I invited everybody I could that I know or kind of know or whatever. I invited everybody. It was actually a big success. It was full. The 3 days was really, really full of people. I sold a lot of pieces. And I think this exhibition gave me like a validation that I was not necessarily looking for, but I was not assuming. And I was like, people are spending money on my pieces. People love them. I have lots of good comments and stuff, even from other artists, not just like, I don't know, my cousin or, you know.
Right. Your mother has put it on the refrigerator for you.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, maybe I can start assuming this seriously. And it was almost like a second coming out. Like, it was like, I have just several years ago, the gay coming out, and then now it was kind of like an artist coming out, because I have been always like kind of hidden somewhere in myself being an artist, but now I'm assuming it, you know, like, right. So that was really interesting. So, and since then, of course, at some point I started working again and everything, but I never stopped making art, because I realized that it was part of who I am and part of what I want to do. Like, not because it's an obligation, but because it's something that is really important for me. So
what does the process of making the art do for you? What does it mean to you personally?
so I'm not sure to understand the
Yeah, qué es la significa de creando arte para ti?
okay, so I think it has several meanings, but I think in the first place it's something that balances me, like with the rest of life, and as well as I don't know, exercising or going outside or whatever is important also to me. I think art is a very essential part of who I am and what I want to do, and then I would say like with time I start putting like words on what I'm doing. Like I recognize what is the meaning of some series of words or some subjects that I'm interested into. So, but at the beginning it's more like I would say fluid and spontaneous. But I realized that the recurrent subjects that are always on my work are male figure, are this duplicity or contrast between masculinity and femininity, or softness of feeling. Is very, very axed on the feeling part of it. Even more like, I would say, because it's male figure drawings, there's a sensuality to it also. So, but I wouldn't say that's mainly like sensuality or eroticism. It's more like something really, I don't know, like introspective and about the feeling. And of course, all other things come with it too. Sure. There's the appreciation of the male beauty. There's some sensuality and stuff like that. So, and maybe a third thing that I started realizing like pretty lately is like at the beginning well, I'm a gay man, and my art, I didn't consider it like gay art. I was thinking it's just art in general, which is true. But in the other hand, it's also true because I'm a gay man. My art will be somehow gay. So I think I didn't want my art to be tagged like in special box. So I was not fighting it, but kind of not assuming that part of my art too much. And then I just get comfortable with that because it's not a bad thing. It's part of who I am. So it's also part of what my art is. Sure. And then, I mean, I think one thing is not opposite to the other. Sure. They can go together. So at the beginning, I was thinking somehow different. But now I have realized that also it has like, even though it wasn't like my first intention or the beginning of my art, it could be also a reference to some other people that, I mean, if I was my 15-year-old self, I would love to see stuff like that. And sure. And artists that are just putting their work out in every level, if it's just like poetry or photography or drawing or painting, etc. I think it's interesting for some other people to see these things. So then after some time, I realized that somehow my art is also contributing to that, which is, I think, what I would think.
Now, you work as an architect as well?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the sensibility of the architecture comes out in the pieces that I've seen of yours in your Instagram, and of course the piece that we're presenting on Artsy as well as part of the postcard show. I love the way that you balance color within your work and positive negative space. Do you feel like there's a relationship for you from your visual images and the way you practice architecture?
I think there is one. it's a funny thing because when I started making art, I was thinking, okay, I don't want to do like building perspectives or landscapes or anything like related with architecture drawing. I wanted art to be a different space for me, much personal and everything. So I started doing these drawings and stuff like that. And then I realized that my, how do you say, my tools, there are tools that I have learned for years and years, studying and working on architecture. So somehow for the composition, I realized that the composition is something really important for me. Like, as you said, the play of masses and voids or negative and positive space. There's also some work that I tend to do about like figures that are kind of in a frame or kind of getting out of a frame. So there's also about this space. And then the graphic expression of my drawings, I wouldn't say like it's architectural, but there's a lot of thin lines and some hatches and textures and stuff that we used to do in architecture when architecture was drawn by hand.
Sure.
So, but in a context that is more organic because I'm drawing human figure, but the tools are there. So there are some composition tools, there are some graphic tools that I didn't realize when I started all of this. But then it's like, okay, I recognize that there's a lot of this life of architecture that I had that are kind of
the tools, the tools that can be used
on that. Yeah,
it's like having your own library of information inside of you from architecture and art, and being who you are as a gay man. And I kind of want to bring those things together because you said like you came out as an artist, you came out as a gay man, and now I'm curious about, in this sort of environment that we're living in 2025 and all the things that are going on in the world, how all those things come together, and what level of importance it is for you to put those identities out in front as well.
Yeah, I think that I would say in the first place is important for myself. Like since I made a come out like several years ago, or even like assuming myself like an artist, even though I don't have like, I didn't went to visual art school, so I don't have like a academic education on this. Of course, I have all my life I have been interested in arts, so I have been like seeing lots of stuff and getting all this information, but it's not like a academic program that I follow. So that's why I say like I assume myself like an artist, and okay. Just these things, I think that it made me much happier and much happy with my life in general. Like I'm a better person, a happier person, assuming all what I am. So that's a first thing that actually it concerns myself. But I think that today, as I think you kind of said, in the actual context, I think it's important, especially to not like just be only on your corner and don't say anything, even though I don't consider myself somebody that's like really a militant or an advocate for things, but I think that it's important that each one of us is out and clear about what are we doing. And I think also that just by that, I think we educate people.
Yes.
Like not only like people that are passing crazy laws or stuff like that, but also just people in general. Like,
well, that's the most important thing, because that's as much as media tries to present that there are two sides to what's happening in the, or or more than two sides, who knows. They oversimplify all the agreements or arguments, and the most powerful thing we have is our response to the people in front of us and how strong we are as who we are, how true we can be. So individually, as people, our relationships with all the people we interact with, and how we use our creativity, whether it be in architecture or in fine art or wherever it is, that's more powerful than all the media in the world.
I think it's also, even like in your community, like it also, like, I don't know if it's a word in English, but it demystifies a little bit these misconceptions. Like, some people are just afraid of something they don't know. I mean, as straight people, there are such different people, gay people too. I mean, you can have like bad people that are gay, but you have lots of people that are just like living their life and they're just as nice as anybody else. So I think that that's a misconception, like, because of the media, because of these extreme ideas of, there's just one box that is okay and everything that is outside of this box is like the evil. But then you realize that, I don't know, that guy who serves you coffee every day and is super nice, he's gay. And your cousin, whatever, that is studying something in university or whatever, it's also, and it doesn't change anything. Like,
I mean, I that's why I appreciate and use queer so frequently, because it's just a more open, it's like, no, there's a diversity out there. And I honestly would hate for somebody not to see the sort of media portrayals of each one of the letters LGBTQIA and not see themselves in it. So I feel like queer is like, no, this is about individuality. It's about living your truth.
And I think it's nice that this, I mean, it's not just a concept, that this idea of queer, because I think at some point, or in some places, there's also a little bit of division between, I don't know, gays and lesbian, or trans and gays, or even between gay people, if you are like very feminine or very masculine, or that, and then it starts like dividing. And I think it's a bad idea to divide us, because we're already like under the spot. So it would be nice to just start being nice with ourselves, Like,
yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Like, we don't need to repeat the historic violence within our own community of people. We can just accept that people are just different. It doesn't need to match up with what I needed to be comfortable in order for it to exist. I just need to allow other people as other people should allow me to be who I am as well. So well, I appreciate taking the time to talk today about your work, and I also appreciate that your artwork, your flowers, and your nails also all combine in a beautiful color palette as well. So